SiriusXM Shade 45, Control Alt Destroy. 2 J's. What's going on, my brother?
What up, family?
He's been vocal on social media about how he has been ousted of the company he's created. He founded, but you come across through the Sue Surgeon through social media.
Yeah, that was the initial touch point, right? With
Yeah.
social, just paying attention to what they're doing and stuff, and then, we go to a trade show, SneakerCon, which you've been to.
Yeah.
And they pulled up on me and was like, "Hey, man, we need to work. Let's sit down. What does that look like?" And,
okay.
We took the steps to piece something together, and like you said, I'm not over there, kind of, I guess misunderstandings or whatnot, but really the focus when I'm going on this little campaign of like building awareness is to like educate entrepreneurs of the things that could go wrong, and how they go wrong, and like trying to speak for the ones that don't have a voice.
So where does this go from a handshake to a contract?
So we meet them in May, we start working in June, we sign a contract in November of 22.
Okay, November 22.
Yeah.
And then that's when you already start feeling the vibe where things are getting a little rough?
By September 23, I'm like, I got too many questions that aren't getting addressed correctly, right? And so by November of 23, I'm like, I want out, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to destroy the brand. I don't want to. I feel like it could work, but we're just not aligned, and I don't have a say, so I might as well leave.
You seen what they were doing at Mercer. You saw a possibility that you can do some things like that. Some great things with some partners who were already cooking and doing their thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, to me, in hindsight, it's a lot of lipstick on the pig, but it looked like the right shade of lipstick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I went into it with good intentions. I still have good intentions. I know a lot of people are thinking I'm just out here bashing them. Nah, this is me very concerned for consigners and wanting to get people's stuff out before something happens.
Right. Without going too deep on an explanation on what consignment is, there are people who are out there left with nothing in their hands at this point. Some are in the store, some have been sold, but they haven't gotten their money back. And these are the people that have, they thrown salt at your name as well, being associated with Urban Necessities.
Yeah, I mean, which I get, right? And there's always, the truth will come out. I'm ready for whenever they decide to come scrape and look at my finances the way that they should look at them.
Yeah.
I generally don't have anything to hide or worried about what's going to come, but I understand they're going to make accusations and banter because I've been on social media for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Really, like, again, people are losing the focus. I'm trying to get people to get their stuff out, and I'm trying to get the store closed.
I want to tell you something crazy that I was in Torrance in California with this gentleman, right? And before we go into it, he tells me they opened this store, but it wasn't a great location to put the store in. So he's putting me on game before I even know, because I don't know retail spaces and what that takes. And then, it was like a sour note before we even go in there. But he was hopeful. He's like, his spirit's always up. He's a go-getter. We go into this establishment. The gentleman who worked there was in the back, so there's nobody greeting you, which in his personality and how he is, he greets people, he story tells, and it makes you be like, I do want this item that's on the wall. You know what I mean? Because I was walked through it's almost like going to a museum and having somebody telling you, he would do that, and I seen that like in real time.
Yeah, I mean, the business is definitely ran a bit different. Like for me, it was, if you make eye contact within 10 seconds, I need you to be asking questions.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about what are you here for. It was more like, where you from? How'd you hear about us? What do you know about the brand? And then go into the explanation of the brand. Because what I've noticed in, all my like interactions is the more open-ended questions you ask about that person or to that person, when you do make those suggestions to, sell something, they're going to give you time of day, and it's not going to feel like you're trying to get something out of them. Because I really didn't care if you bought something or not. Like, it was going to do what it was going to do regardless.
Yeah. Man, now there are some accusations that are going on that are happening behind the scenes, but one of the things, a lot of you telling people, walking through the process, and I guess as you say, it is making people aware of this scenario. You had the same lawyers that dealt with your American Eagle situation.
Correct.
Do this one,
Correct.
do this deal,
Yeah.
and do you feel that was almost like you wasn't informed on everything, or it was?
I wouldn't say I wasn't like informed, right? I had an understanding of what I'm signing. Like I understand what I'm signing, but again, I'm not signing this saying or being advised like, yo, they're not going to do their job. They're not going to fulfill like their fiduciary responsibilities, right? Like, and I wasn't going in there like, yo, I'm gonna just act like a little brat and not do my job. Like I'm trying to do my job even harder now. I got help.
Right.
And so there was some differences, and I think things were taken out of context or perceived in a different way that create the strains in a relationship, and then it just got to the point where like,
before it gets to that point, what were the signs, a moment, a statement that was made that made you step back?
All over the place, bro. Like just I talked about it today on another platform, right? Like there was a moment where I thought that a conversation and how things were being communicated to me were very wrong, to the point where it made me go from one state to the other state to address it in person with the other partner, only for that person to tell me like, yo, that's not part of my job. That's not my responsibility. And I'm like, bro, your name's on this. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, but again, man, like I said, I just want to address, I'm very concerned for the safety of product. I'm concerned for the safety of staff, because money's coming in, but we're not paying consigners. There's other debts that are there, and some of it's being paid, but that's not really being addressed. And I don't have an understanding, because I was, like you said, I was fired from my own brand.
Yeah.
And I don't have visibility. And as I spent 3 years, as you know, like trying to get out of this deal with offers being sent to me, and I'm signing them, and then they're not signing them. So I'm not thinking or even concerned with what the operations of the business are, because I'm fired. Yeah. Right? Like,
yeah, I'm just like an outsider listening into this, and since you've been doing a lot, I've been catching up on it. It seems so black and white. Like, it seems so clear. I just want, if you can clarify, because I see a lot of the comments are, oh, there was fine print. He should have read the fine print. But it's not even that. It's that there are contracts in place, and people are not doing what the contracts say.
Correct. And then again, like, people are focused on the contract, and the contract's not even the problem. It's what you just said. It's that people are not doing their jobs. And then when I started addressing my concerns for the lack of certain things happening or not happening, that's when it cost me my job. And it just happens to coincide when you get a lawsuit from Nike for 60 mil. And then, like, good lawyers are not cheap. Right? Like, I've said it. Like, my last sit down phone call and 3 text messages cost me $11,600 for a lawyer. That's in one day. Right? They fought for 1 year. Like, that's 7 figures. I don't care what lawyer you have. That's 7 figures. And then you're sued for 60 mil for infringement. And then you settle.
Am I wrong? Is there another case with a leather company from France?
They had a multitude of lawsuits going on. And my business got sued along the way because of the interactions that these guys are how they're conducting business, right? So, you get sued for 60 mil, you don't pay 60 mil, but you fight for a year. And the last guy that had a similar problem that was nowhere near to your level settled for $8 million. Like, what did you pay? Right? And now a business that never took a loan is taking loans, and no one wants to show me these loans. And it's like, look, I'm not trying to say, 1 + 1 is 2 here, but like, if I'm asking you for contracts and you're not showing them to me, and you're not wrong, let's just say you're not wrong, well, why don't you go out of your way and show me that you're not, like, why am I struggling so hard to get paperwork?
Yeah.
Right. So that's my whole thing is like, so I'm now at the point where I'm going to keep going until I see this paperwork. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if I'm wrong, hey guys, like, yo, I clearly read the room wrong. I've never hidden from an apology if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm the first one. I've done that my whole life.
Wow.
Right? So I'm concerned for consigners. Consigners are telling me they're not getting paid. They're not getting their shoes. Bills ain't really getting paid, but the store's still open, and I'm like, yo, close the store. Why are we running the bill up higher?
Right.
So,
right.
like, I know it sounds like he said, she said, and it sounds like I'm crying, but people don't understand. There's 37,850 consigners. If you take 37,850 and multiply that by 274, let's just say, what do you pay for a shoe now? 250 plus tax. That's 274, 280, right? Well, 274 times 37,850 is $10 million. So if every consignor had one shoe, I'm talking about $10 million. And I know I don't have $10 million in shoes in there. I know when I left, I had $12 million in shoes in there. You know, like, wow. And the store's doing 30 a year.
Yeah.
Out of one store. Like, and so, I don't know, man. I got a lot of questions. Again, my going out is, I know there's other small business owners that are having hardships and disconnects, and they're trying to sit here and bring attention to either, you know, the law, the lawyers. Like, there's laws that need to be changed. Our bureaucracy is wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it's impossible to get, like, if you're being wronged, it's almost, you're better off being the guy doing the wrong. The laws are designed to protect you and to show without a reasonable doubt instead of it getting addressed and looked at.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get this shit looked at.
Welcome back, everybody. Control Alt Destroy. I am Destroy here with your man 2J, JC Lopez. Did this scale too fast?
I mean, I think that's a great question. Some people will say, yeah, I think it took too long to get where I was at. Right? But it's also because I was in the trenches building this, like, you know, shoe by shoe.
Yeah.
In a sense, right? So, I think we could have done what we did a little bit faster in hindsight.
Yeah. So, other than dealing with shoe surgeon, you know, what are some mistakes
that I made
along the way?
Man, I think the biggest thing that I've done is, like, my biggest mistake that I talk about all the time is my inability to get people to understand why certain pivots happened throughout my brand, right? Like, an example, you make a to Z process, and that's your manual for your employees. And then one day your bank account gets hit, or you got to make a buy, or, you know, you got an expense that you weren't expecting, and all of a sudden, like, your A to Z just got shifted, and then now you're, like, telling your employee, hey, change this. And then in some cases, when you're an employee and you have a manager or leader talking to you about two different disconnects in the same day, all of a sudden it's, I don't like you, right? And so my inability to address certain things in the past cost me a lot of great people. And they became examples, you know, for them and me on how not to handle certain scenarios.
Yeah.
And for some, they've excelled and turned it into businesses. Like, a lot of my employees, like, I've had a lot of employees that open their own stores or tried, like, to dabble in entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
So, but I did lose a lot of friends along the way in that sense too, right?
Yeah.
Because the first people that want to help you are friends and family, right? I had to fire my own mom.
Yeah.
For stealing other people's T-shirt sales that were commission based, and it's like, yeah, to set an example, and then your mom's on the chopping block, bro. It's wild.
Anyone could get it, right?
Man, that one hurt because she lived with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're fired, Mom. You're still on payroll, but you're fired.
One of the numbers associated is that you know, close to 200,000 to walk away from the business. Saying, the statement was saying, and you could tell me if there's any fact or fiction to this, that investors wouldn't want to deal with the company that you were involved in.
Wait, the question was,
so you was given
$200,000. I was paid out $200,000.
Less than $200,000 was the idea for you to start phasing you out. Do you feel?
I mean,
Did you have a
I wasn't.
reputation?
I don't know what that reputation is. I mean, everybody that you talk to says I don't want to. The people that are trying to buy it, because they are trying to sell this, they're trying to pass the problem on to somebody else, and I don't think they're being transparent in even that. Like everybody's like, well, I got to do this with Jay. This doesn't work without Jay.
Okay, good.
Right. So, like, and for the record, like, I got to the point where like I'm so traumatized by it that I'm like, I want to pivot. I want to consult. I want to teach people how not. But I also see the problem in the room, don't have a complete understanding, and I don't see anybody else trying to take accountability. Like, that side is focused on what I supposedly took instead of what the real problem is the consigners and the taxes, right? Like, 2Js don't owe anybody no money. Urban does.
Yeah. Now, what was your thoughts on that statement that they released?
That I took 191,000. Is that the one that you're talking about? That I spent like 191,000 on my personal American Express with business expenses? Well, I had to use a personal American Express because they took my American Express for the company. You ever try to book a hotel or rent a car or a flight or, client dinners, like, or hosting? Like, you got to put that on something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and for the record, that 191,000 came from JC Lopez and or 2J's Kicks LLC, right? So I don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Then on that same one, they talk about a house and that the store is paying my mortgage. Yeah, you're paying my mortgage for a secondary house that I do not live in that you are leasing. It was their idea to lease it for employees to live in.
So you know what's wild is that
it's janky how they're trying to do
even before he says this, he showed it to me in real time. He drove by and he explained before all of this.
Yeah.
He said, so this is the house for the employees to live in, because some employees come, and he showed me an employee who came from California, needed a place to stay, and basically had a place for the team to live at.
Yeah, the logic was, look, it's cheaper than hotels and it's cheaper than Airbnbs. We got a lot of guys and girls that work for us that, they have some hardships in life. They're still trying to figure it out. Like, retail, you go to any sneaker store, what's the bulk of the people working in the store? 18 to 27?
Yeah.
Most of those people are still trying to figure out life. And we were all that kid once, right? So here's a 5-bedroom house that we're leasing out for $200 over the mortgage to cover the HOA, not even the utilities of this house for employees to live in. And then you want to like turn the narrative around.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then there's a $75,000 accusation of a trip in Japan that I did 2 years ago. But when you look at my accounts, you'll see that came from a personal bank account.
Yeah, this is.
So it's like janky because, again, like those are things that if you have issues, there's a correct channel to address those. And then there could be an itemization, right? Does it have to be in closed doors? No, it doesn't. If you have that concern, well, it's for me to prove it to you. But to make stuff up compared to I'm coming with receipts and emails and text messages, and then
most important, yeah.
Then there's people that are there that could validate this.
Diesel.
Yeah, I mean, you have an answer for everything that they're putting up against you, which is like valid. So this is not business. This is clearly personal. So what are we missing? What's here?
I wish I knew.
Okay.
Right? Like, one of the moments that hurt me the most throughout all of this was right before I signed that last contract to walk away with zero. Right? Like they were like, we're going to come to Vegas. We're going to sit down with you and we're going to run you through our last offer to you. So they set up the meeting at a restaurant. I get there. I try to get there early because I'm trying to be respectful of people's time. They're already sitting there eating like stuff in their face, calamari, the whole nine. And I'm like, I sit down. I'm like, it's Isaac, Dallas, and Dom. And I'm like, I'm not here to point fingers. We got here mutually, right? Like, I'm not here for no arguments. I'm not here for he said, she said. Like, I'm just here to hear what this last offer is and keep it moving. And, I got one guy and Dom that won't look at me. He's like dodging eye contact. I got another guy who's fighting tears. And then the other guy's looking at me like he want to go at it. and then looks me dead in the eyes and says, your offer is $0. You ain't getting shit. Right? So now, initial reaction is, wow, okay, built a business that's done hundreds of millions of dollars. You're taking everything out of my accounts and I'm getting $0? All right. I'll be the last person you're going to cook over. And this is me keeping my word that, like, I tried to do this cordially. I waited 3 years because I thought there was going to be some money repaid to my wife that we let them borrow. And then I thought I was going to get money for my body of work. And because I pointed out some inconsistencies that were breaches in the contract, and it's the whole reason why you even offered me money on the way out. Now I'm a horrible human being and I ruined the business and I left it in shambles, but I ain't been there in 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm confused myself.
Yeah.
So let's talk the future a little bit, because we spoke off air. So can you just share what it is that you want to do with the consigners?
I want the store closed.
Okay.
Because I don't feel that any person that could possibly help me, because at this point I need help, right? Like, we know if you really do the research on what's happened in the last 3 weeks, you know that myself and or the brand are not in a position to really help itself unless there's real help. But to get the real help, you got to scrape, thousands and thousands of line items, and that could take, weeks, months, year. And so I think the most logical thing is close the store so we could at least stop some of the overhead and bleeding that the business has.
Yeah.
Right. And then for consigners, like, I would love to be able to, liquidate some of my personal assets if I have to, if there's no accountability on that other side. And if I don't, there is a realistic world where the business has to file a bankruptcy, but I don't want my consigners to be put in that. And I've gone on the record saying I'm going to create a relief fund. I don't know if it'll get any support, but I'm going to try to make it right for folks. And I'm going to do that with interest, because I got a brand that, even though I haven't been there to make some of the decisions, I put it on this path.
Yeah.
Right. And so I can't let my people just be penalized for that and then not get compensated for that, with interest. Because this could take me. I don't know the number. If it's 2 million or less, then I think we could do a telethon and get it overnight.
You know what? I got to tell you that when you had made one of the videos, the next day I did wake up feeling like you'll be all right on the other side of this. And then
what if it takes 10 years?
I'm just talking about how I felt and how I seen in your work ethic and where your heart's at. But I did see that they were at least publicly stating they wanted to give it back to you. Work on that road, on that path.
Yeah, fair. But why would I take 100% of liability of something that took loans out without my approval? And I'm a 50% owner, and you have to get the owner.
Yeah.
You got to get the owner to approve that, and then you didn't do you didn't even through the eyes of the state, you didn't even let people know there was a change. And where my bad is, do you sign a deal and then go check? They're taking oh, let me go check with the state if they did what they said they were going to do. I should have, but I didn't, because I didn't think that was going to be a thing that happened. And I don't run operations, right? So there's that part. There's the same thing with the bank. When you put other people on the bank and you say they're an owner, you got to report that there was changes in that. You didn't even do that.
Wow.
Right. So it's so past what people are going to be able to comprehend, because I was at such a different level. Again, we're talking a business that's done hundreds of millions of dollars.
You guys have done something, and also impacted the culture so much where
it was a pillar in the community. And I think but it's also now turning into the black eye of the industry. And it sucks, because
you're definitely a face of it.
Yeah,
of that.
I'm a face, all right.
You're one of them.
But
no, seriously.
I know, man. But it sucks, because I feel like this is gonna end up on some American Greed episode, and then you're gonna have me there all dumbfounded, looking like Al Bundy, still talking about Polk High, but I got smoked for. Who knows how much?
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing that. I'm definitely already, everybody turning narratives, but you're telling the story on several platforms to inform people.
Get your stuff out. and like send me emails to 2jskicks@gmail.com. Give me examples of consignor issues that you've had, whether that's like, you try to request your items back and that you didn't get paid, or you didn't all of a sudden your shoes ain't there. Like any issues, discrepancies, I need like screenshots and like the correspondence so I can have an understanding, because there is going to be a day where they come. Yeah. And I can't wait.
This is wild, man. It's my brother 2J's right here, right now. His dog peed in my wallet. You get to sell your shit? Did you sell stuff?
I mean, I've sold some, right?
Yeah.
Like the initial intention of the stuff that we were selling was to help Joni with some medical bills. As you know, my wife has stage 4 colon cancer. She's like literally fighting for her life. And now I'm using that money not only for medical bills, but to recoup the money that was seized out of our personal bank accounts because of their inability to let us know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah.
You sold those gold sneakers?
I still got them. I don't know who wants to buy. You know anybody who wants to buy them?
I don't know nobody. I know who wants to burn them. This guy right here. All right, man. We're going to continue right here, right now, bro. Give the people all your,
Yeah, you can find me. I just appreciate y'all listening. If you care, just share it. Like, I'm not asking you for money. I'm not asking you. The only help that I need right now are prayers and share it and speak on it however you want. Right, wrong, indifferent. Like, it's conversation that needs to happen. I think it's healthy conversation, and I think that the more people that talk about it, we're one step closer to possibly changing the laws and the way that they're set up, because that's the real problem with this.
Yeah.
It ain't so much what happened to me. It's the fact that I can't get it addressed because there's so many laws protecting them from what I should have access to.
Protecting like the corporate?
Yeah,
dude.
It's fucking garbage.
You ain't plugged in, B?
Apparently
the gold
not.
sneaker dudes, B.
Yeah,
talk to them, B.
I gotta recoup everything for everybody.
For sure. Look at this, Chulo. The sex symbol. They can never get rid of that title.
Yeah.
Of Urban Necessities and Sneaker Con now. You man, when's your next one?
There's one in Vegas in 2 weeks. Let's see if they let me in the room.
Holy shit, let's go.
There'll be a camera. I'm ready.
Yeah, your man's, he's going to go up the U-Haul trucks, go through the security guards. Bro, it takes you 30 minutes to get there. How fast you got there that day?
12,
how hard was your heart pounding?
Oh, man. I was doing 140 miles an hour. I kid
crazy.
you not. And there's video of that, too.
Allegedly.
Not from me.
Yeah, okay.
But
that's crazy. All right, man. We come back with some more right here on Control Alt Idstroy. Thank you so much, my brother.
Appreciate you.